Tonight on News 3 at 6, the Mazomanie fire chief says a house is a complete loss after an overnight fire. And as the temperatures take a drastic swing, officials are watching for possible flooding and ice jams.
There is no shadow of me. A beautiful spring it shall be.
And one of the more quirky American traditions reveals a positive outlook on the weather in Pennsylvania. Find out if Sun Prairie's Groundhog's prediction matched up.
This is News 3 at 6.
A Mazomanie family is without a home tonight after a devastating early morning fire. It happened on West High Street starting around 3 a.m. Our Madeline O'Neill has more from Mazomanie, introducing us to one of the first on the scene today.
I don't know if I was born with the eye or...
Wherever it came from.
Back in 2015, my cousin introduced me to Instagram, and that's how I got a big start in photography.
16-year-old Mitchell Travis has a talent for capturing moments that often end up in the local paper.
My eyes just wander, and I just see all these photo opportunities.
Especially when exposed to life's tragedies, like the one he found on West High Street early Saturday morning.
I just saw there was a lot of flames. You're just kind of in a standstill, and it's so surreal.
Maybe that's because Mitchell's own past gives him perspective.
They're going to be missing their house a lot because that's how I am with mine.
Because of last summer's flooding that hit Mazomanie especially hard, Mitchell's home, where he spent his whole life, now just lives on through his pictures.
Kind of just think about it every once in a while and just want to go back home.
That's the lens through which he took photos of Saturday's fire.
I think it was over 200.
You can tell just by looking at the outside of this building, this house is considered a total loss, and of course it doesn't get better inside either.
All of their belongings are gone.
Starting around 3 a.m.
It was the real deal.
Mazomanie Fire Chief Mark Geisler and responders spent hours fighting the fire.
The sun was coming up.
One that proved to be difficult because of the age and frame of the house.
It explains the reason why this home is so chopped up.
3 people were inside, including a young girl.
They were amazed at how fast the fire grew and how difficult it was for them to get out, even having that smoke detector activation.
All, including a dog, got out safely.
From that aspect, we had almost as positive of an outcome as we could.
Looking ahead,
It's going to be a tough couple of months.
Mitchell has a glimpse of what the family will deal with.
So you have to try to push through it.
But the community is here.
I am confident that our community will move around them and help them.
To help the displaced family focus on the future.
And have friends and family help you as much as you can.
In Mazomanie.
You got a good community to support you, that's for sure.
Madeline O'Neill, WISC News 3.
One firefighter is in the hospital with hand injuries from a chainsaw accident while fighting that fire. The Mazomanie fire chief tells us they're looking into the cause of the fire, but do not believe it to be suspicious. We'll have more information on the GoFundMe page set up for the family on our website. Autopsies are planned for Monday for 2 deaths in Milwaukee that could be weather-related. Milwaukee police say they discovered a 63-year-old woman around 6:45 yesterday morning in a scorched trailer. Officers think she was using her gas stove for heat. Later in the day, officers say they found a 56-year-old man frozen in his yard. No official cause of death has been determined yet. These cases would mean there have been 5 weather-related deaths in Milwaukee County this year. In Rock County tonight, police in the town of Beloit are hoping these pictures will help identify the driver of a vehicle that hit a school bus yesterday morning. Officers say the vehicle hit the stop arm on the bus as it was stopped and dropping off kids near East Azalea Terrace. That's just off South Riverside Drive. The vehicle is described as a newer GMC pickup truck with a topper. Anyone with information should call the town of Beloit Police Department. That number is 608-757-2244. All right, Dave Caulfield joins us with your first alert forecast. It was a perfect day out today. I mean, it felt great.
Yeah, it felt great, Amanda, that's for sure, with temperatures about 25 degrees warmer than they were at this time yesterday. However, it didn't look that great, pretty gloomy, in fact, because of all the fog in place. and you can see that fog still in place on the WISC-TV Skycam in Madison overlooking Raymond Road there. We do have a dense fog advisory for the counties you see shaded in gray until noon tomorrow, so visibilities could be less than 1/4 of a mile in some spots. Right now that visibility at 1 mile and 3/4 in Madison, 3 miles in Mineral Point, and about 2.5 in Prairie du Chien and Boscobel. But here's why: the mild air interacting with the colder snow on the ground, and the mild air right now taking the shape of 37 degrees in Madison, 41 in Boscobel. And as I mentioned, that's about 25 to 30 degrees warmer than we were yesterday. A massive temperature swing, especially compared to where we were on Thursday morning when we were double digits below zero. Temperatures and winds over the next 12 hours, we're staying in the mid-30s and a little bit breezy at times. And for tomorrow, some light rain is possible to go along with that fog. We'll talk about how long that fog will last and another big temperature swing on the way for next week in your First Alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Dave. This weekend's warm-up means the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers is watching for ice jams and flooding in Wisconsin. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel says they're watching parts of the Fox River, the Wolf River, and the Mazomanie River. Ice jams are caused by warmer temperatures that thaw ice on the river quickly. They often trigger flooding. Residents across the state, including in Madison, are asked to clear storm grates to help with melting snow. The Rock River is also at risk of flooding.
Jimmy said, he looked around, he looked at the skies, he looked overhead, and he said, Mayor, I see clouds. That means it's going to be an early spring.
All right, you saw it right there. We're in for an early spring. That is if Jimmy the Groundhog and Punxsutawney Phil have any say in it. The annual tradition in both Sun Prairie and Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, continued this morning with both groundhogs failing to see their shadows. For Phil in particular, this is very rare. He's only not seen his shadow 19 times in the 133-year history of Groundhog's Day. Well, after the bitter cold temperatures that kept many families indoors this weekend, many were out and about today enjoying the warm-up. The Frozen Assets Festival at the Edgewater on Lake Mendota gave many the chance to try their hand at some winter activities, including skating, hockey, and snow kiting, while enjoying warm treats and learning about Madison's lakes.
A great activity to come out on the ice. You get to see the kites, and we're actually going to go over there and see the Statue of Liberty as well.
The fundraiser is organized by the Clean Lakes Alliance, and money raised goes towards protecting the waters, educational programming, and water quality monitoring. With Valentine's Day approaching, humans aren't the only ones looking for love. A new program at the Dane County Humane Society aims to find loving owners for shelter animals. The Lonely Hearts Club is for homeless dogs, cats, and critters who have been at DCHS longer than their shelter friends, and they're still looking for someone to love them forever. Although they might be older or not as eye-catching, DCHS believes they can bring much love to your life.
As a shelter with an adoption guarantee, that means that any animal that comes through our doors that's healthy or treatable can stay at Dane County Humane Society as long as it takes to find that right home for them.
Members of the Lonely Hearts Club can be identified in the shelter by a club logo hanging on their kennel or cage. For more information on these pets, you can visit channel3000.com. Coming up, a lot of us try to avoid soda, but what about fruit juice? A look at the health risks you could be exposing your kids to.
This
A warning about the fruit juice you might be giving your children. New testing from Consumer Reports has found concerning levels of heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, and lead in nearly half of the juices it tested. And those contaminants could increase the risk of behavioral problems, lower IQs, and other health risks. Here's how to protect your family and yourself.
The Hinkson brothers don't drink a lot of fruit juice.
Normally they drink mostly water. They're very active, so we like to keep them hydrated, and the juices don't really do that for them.
Consumer Reports tested 45 popular fruit juices sold across the country, including apple, grape, pear, and fruit blends, and found concerning levels of heavy metals in nearly half of them, including juices marketed for children, who are particularly vulnerable to the harmful effects of heavy metals.
Persistent exposure to these heavy elements, particularly early in a child's development, can have long-standing effects throughout their lives. Their respiratory systems, their neurological systems, their immune systems are all developing. And so having those exposures early in those ages can have very profound effect.
The American Academy of Pediatrics has long recommended limiting amounts of juice, mainly because it contains lots of sugar. But American children still drink a lot of juice. In a recent survey of parents with young children, Consumer Reports found more than 80% give their kids juice, potentially exposing them to heavy metals. In CR's testing, it found 7 juices that contain enough heavy metals to potentially harm children who drink 4 ounces or more per day. An additional 9 juices pose a risk to kids at 8 ounces or more per day. Lastly, CR found 5 juice boxes that posed a risk to children if they drank more than 1 per day. So how did these dangerous compounds get into our juice? Heavy metals are naturally found in the environment, but much of the heavy metals in food come from soil or water that's been contaminated through pollution, mining, or pesticides. So, what can you do?
So we understand that there are a lot of foods out there that have traces of these heavy elements in them. So that's why it's really important to make sure that you feed your children a broad variety of fruits, vegetables, and other whole foods to ensure that you minimize your exposure.
And that includes drinking water.
We try to give them water so that they can learn to enjoy water.
This is Leah Lynchide.
Of the juice companies that responded to CR's request for comment, most said they did their own testing and adhered to all government regulations. Some also noted that heavy metals can be naturally occurring. Next on News 3 at 6, Tuesday begins the Year of the Pig. We show you some of the local celebrations kicking off Chinese New Year.
And temperatures felt much better today with highs in the 40s, but the gloomy weather is sticking around. I'll let you know how long in your First Alert forecast right after this.
Despite the warmer weather, many Madisonians were out enjoying one of winter's favorite dishes. The 23rd annual Super Bowl at Madison West High served up soup, bread, and salad. The fundraiser is hosted by the Habitat for Humanity campus chapter at UW and benefits affordable housing in Dane County.
And it helps raise money for our home that we build for our family each year. So this year we're on our 17th home, and all the money that we raise today will go towards that.
Local mascots, including Bucky the Badger, along with members of the Wisconsin Marching Band, kept Super Bowl goers entertained. Next week marks the start of the Chinese New Year, but some community members are already beginning to celebrate this weekend. Josh Sprider has the story.
We are just days away from the official start of the Chinese New Year, but we found that didn't stop some from starting their celebrations early. We stopped by the Verona Public Library today, where families with young kids had the chance to celebrate big with Mandarin Chinese stories, songs, crafts, and refreshments. It was put on by students and staff of the Verona Area International School. Organizers say it was a perfect way to kick off the Year of the Pig while giving everyone the chance to learn something new about the Chinese culture.
We are really trying to bring in the cultural piece to the kids that we teach. So it's not just the language, it's also the culture.
Unlike the Universal New Year observed on January 1st, Chinese New Year is never on a fixed date. The dates vary according to the Chinese lunar calendar, but generally fall on a day between January 21st and February 20th in the Gregorian calendar. This time around, the Chinese New Year is on Tuesday, February 5th. I'm Josh Sprider for WISC News 3.
Thank you, Josh. Well, we have a new year. We hit 40 degrees. We have a lot of things to celebrate, Dave.
Yeah, lots of people outside today, Amanda, whether that was sledding or just enjoying this mild weather. Now, I hesitate to say it was beautiful out because it was still a little bit gloomy with the fog around. But hey, let's focus on the positives. And we were definitely in the positives as far as high temperatures go. The upper 30s and low 40s showing up across southern Wisconsin. Remember, just a few days ago, we were in the negative 20s outside. And so, man, Mother Nature really turned that temperature up to 11. We are 65 degrees warmer than 2.5 days ago in Madison. We went from minus 26 to 39 degrees this afternoon. So that is nothing to sneeze at. And really over the last 24 hours, you could see the dramatic jump as that warm front got here. We were in the teens as we got into the overnight hours, and then bam, into the 20s and upper 30s, close to 40 degrees in Madison now. I mentioned it's been a little bit gloomy outside. That's because the fog really has been dense at times, and it will continue to be dense as we get into tonight and tomorrow morning. Downtown Madison, the Edgewater Skycam looking at that fog off in the distance as we take a look at the Capitol. Today's high 44. That's about 15 degrees above average instead of being about 30 degrees below average. So really, really big temperature swing over the past few days. And because of these mild temperatures, the snow depth has gone down a little bit across Dane County. We probably lost about an inch or two of the snowpack, and the fog that we've been seeing all day is what we call advection fog, and it's caused by the warm, moist air that's in town interacting with the colder ground, in this case the snowpack, and so that snow cools the air right above it, and the dew point goes up, the humidity goes up, and fog forms. So that's kind of why we're seeing what we're seeing. I always like to pull back the curtain and show you why the atmosphere is doing what it's doing when I know, of course. We are down to 1 3/4 mile visibility in Madison, 1/4 mile visibility in Lone Rock, and 2 in Boscobel. So expect that dense fog to continue overnight. Temperatures right now are in the upper 30s and low 40s. And with the wind chill, it does feel a little bit chillier, but still way more bearable than what we experienced just a few days ago. Doppler track is quiet, although a little bit of drizzle and light rain possible over the next few days as temperatures stay mild. I think the fog will stay with us during that time period. But then another temperature swing. We go from 46 on Monday to a high of 15 on Friday. So don't put away that winter gear just yet. We're going to need it once again by the time we get to next weekend. Tonight, temperatures in the 30s, breezy and milder with dense fog. For tomorrow, areas of fog and mild with a chance of some rain showers and highs in the mid-40s. So on future track, we're noticing some blips on radar as we head into the overnight hours into Sunday. And then for Monday, we have some scattered showers on the way, especially for Monday morning. And then after that, a few flurries are possible as we get into Monday night. Shouldn't be anything significant. So the fog sticks with us for Sunday and Monday, but then we get that visibility back with us by later on Monday as a cold front comes through and sweeps out that moisture. We could have a few bouts of accumulating snow coming up for early next week. Should be light in nature Tuesday night into Wednesday and Wednesday night into Thursday.
We're finally getting to a lot of those postponed games due to the weather on the high school hardwood. Highlights from the Badger South. That's next in sports. Well, the last time the Monona Grove girls basketball team lost a game was on November 27th. And since then, the Silver Eagles have won 14 in a row. They're on top of the Badger South standings. Now, their challenge today, an Oregon team that is in the middle of the pack in the conference. Oregon, winners of their last 6 of 7 games. We pick it up in the first, rather. Carly Roberts passes to Katie Iso 4-2. Panthers tied the game up at 9 early. Later, Caitlin Shrimp goes outside to Jenna Stats. She will knock down a big 3 from the corner there. Oregon down 1. Silver Eagles ball now. Peyton Nelson to McKenna Warnock. She will knock down a big 3 as well. Monona Grove up by 2. And later, Warnock putting those defensive skills on display as well. A one-woman show today. She's headed to Iowa to play Division I college hoops in the Big Ten. A lot of grit here. Monona Grove wins its 15th straight, 65-53, the final score. A lot of good things for the Badgers in last night's 69-61 win over Maryland. Wisconsin winning its 5th game in a row, committing only 4 turnovers. That's a season low for the team. The Badgers led by the usual suspects, Brad Davison with 21 points, Ethan Happ contributing 18, but a few others peeking out of the woodwork. Khalil Iverson with the usual style points here, and Brevin Pritzel adding his 3-pointers as well. But Aleem Ford slowly but surely coming out of the woodwork after having surgery on his knee in early November. All he needs now is a little more confidence, and it is visibly starting to grow thanks to support from his teammates and head coach Greg Gard.
You know, he hadn't scored in 3 games, you know, or about that. Am I right? So for him to come in and, you know, he missed his first couple, and then you know, keep firing away and stay confident. He looked over at me once after he missed a shot. I said, "Stop looking at me. I'm not shooting it for you. Keep firing them if they're good ones."
Yeah, just staying confident, trying to get in and get some extra shots up, but just staying confident and believing in yourself and just believing that the next one will fall, because these guys believed in me, so just believe it in myself.
Nice little pat on the back there from Ethan Happ. The Badgers men's hockey team looking to even out the series against Michigan State today. The Spartans are in dead last in the Big Ten standings, but they did beat the Badgers 4-1 last night in East Lansing. A little bit of a different story today. Early in the first period, Will Johnson would go top shelf from the right circle. What a shot there. Wisconsin up first, 1-0. Now Michigan State would tie it up, but in the second period, Keandre Miller's shot pops off of the goalie's pads. Linus Weissbach bangs the rebound in the back of the net. 2-1 Wisconsin. That is where we stand right now in the third period. The Badger women back on top here now for Zip. They beat Bemidji State today. 2 goals from Sam Cogan, guys.
All right, let's take another look at weather.
All right, well, it stays foggy overnight. It's been foggy basically all day, but the mild temperatures are definitely nice. We're at 36 right now in Madison, and visibility stay in the 2 to 3 mile range basically all night. Your 7 to 10 day forecast showing the mild air sticking around for Sunday and Monday, but then colder for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We do have a chance of some accumulating snow for Wednesday and Thursday.
Winter is not over.
Not yet.
All right, thank you, and thanks for joining us. Have a great night.